Before joining government, I was the CEO and co-founder of Darktrace, so a technology company that scaled and grew here within the UK. And off the back of that experience, I see that the UK is an incredible place to come and build companies that are solving really hard problems. We've got incredible talent with hugely diverse selection of skills, and we've got 4 of the best of the universities, best of top 10 universities in all of the world. But I also know that when you are scaling and growing a business, your world is your bubble, your business is your focus and your drive. And as you transition, you need partners with you that are going to help you turn outside of that bubble and look at the world around you and challenge you to have ambition to continue and to scale your company. And for me, that is where my investors in venture capital came in. They were the people that invested in us so much more than money. It was a partnership of belief, shared passion, an ability to speak the same language, but also an encouragement towards ambition, an encouragement to turn outside of just the bubble of our business and think about the sort of broader range of opportunities. And I understand, know fiercely from my own experience, the importance that venture capital has for our growing businesses. We have got an incredible sort of venture capital ecosystem. I think it's the 3rd largest in the world, and that is something that we are hugely proud of. But I also know that with the challenges of scale, you're also trying to accomplish something that sometimes has never been done before. You're driving cultural change. You are shaping a team around you, and you are trying to learn from the experience of the past as you build a culture of your own business. And I think that is where uniquely CVCs come in, because you come from an ecosystem that by its nature is fueled and powered by ambition, having seen and learned through your own experience. And that is where I think the expertise really differs. And when I think back in terms of what we are so good at within the UK, solving difficult problems with our incredible talent, building incredible businesses that are backed by venture capital. But the limitations, and it's a problem that's well known and understood here, is really that challenge of scale. And a lot of that comes back to in terms of money. But another challenge with that scale is also, what does scale look like? What does the business feel like when it is operating at that side? What does the culture feel like? And that is why I think the role for CVCs in particular is so exciting, because you are the guys that have been there, seen it and done it and have learned through experience. You are operating within that ecosystem, and you are able to pass that on into your businesses that you are supporting so much. So first of all, a huge thank you for the contribution that you make towards all the UK. All of you that don't have presence within the UK yet, I challenge you, why not? And please do feel a warm welcome. And I really ask that you all think about the opportunity that the UK presents to you. Now, let me turn a little bit in terms of what are we doing for you in terms of the government side. How are we trying to create and shape an ecosystem that is creating opportunities for organisations like yours? The first thing to say is that the government's #1 ambition is to really bring growth back into the company. Back into the company, there I am, talking about the private sector, right? Back into the country. And I think it is such an important mantra, and I think it is the thing that really drew me into joining government, was wanting to come and be part of that growth opportunity. And I know, because I have driven growth in my own company, that it's not just a matter of choice. You can't just decide to have growth. It's more than wanting it. You have to then think about how you're going to execute and drive that growth. And for me, it starts with that tone at the top. It's setting that ambition. It's about having an aligned group of ministers and people responsible for all really wanting that. And I think you are absolutely seeing that here within the UK. You cannot talk to a minister without them talking about growth, which is a great thing. But then it's, how do you execute against that? You have to have a strategy. We've all done that. We've done that in our own businesses. You write down where it is that you think that growth is going to come from and how are you going to go about going and driving that. And we see that in terms of things like the industrial strategy that I'm told is coming out imminently, but I have said that once or twice in the recent past as well. So watch this space, but I am told it is coming out any time now soon. So we have the industrial strategy where we highlight those key sectors where we think that growth is going to be coming from. And then the point of that strategy is you are articulating what the government is doing to support those industries. What does the regulatory space look like? How do we provide clarity to investors about what we are going to be doing and how we're going to be driving growth within these sectors? So what you have is really good line of sight and alignment with government about driving growth into those sectors. Then it's thinking about the role that those regulators have. Who are our partners in driving that growth? How do we work with the regulators to make sure that they are not operating against us? I cannot talk to an investor without them complaining about how frustrating the planning process here is in the UK. And there is a huge bill that's going through Parliament at the moment to really try and think about how do we change that and make it much simpler for people that are trying to get stuff done and build stuff here in the UK. How do we make that simpler and easier? So we're seeing those regulators, the regulations being turned to think a little bit more about how they are supporting the economic growth. But then it comes back to, are we making the difficult decisions? And growth is hard. And it is blood, sweat and tears. And you're operating against a whole narrative of all the things that it won't work. But you have to be steadfast and focused and take those difficult decisions that will be able to result in growth. And that is what we see in terms of things like thinking about our airports. What are the roles that they play? How do we use as an asset to drive growth? With the decisions to expand our airports, these are really important, big decisions, but not always easy and simple decisions to take, but really helps to drive and support that growth narrative. And hopefully that is something that you are seeing from government as well. In terms of my own role, we have a brilliant team, which is the Office for Investment, whose job it is to support organisations like yours as you are making those investments into decisions into the UK to work with you. Government is hugely complicated. It is filled with acronyms. You cannot have a meeting with someone in government without them dipping their hand into the sort of Scrabble bag of letters, tipping it out onto the table and going, this is the new scheme for whatever it is. And it is completely impenetrable to those who are not yet well versed in the thesaurus of these acronyms. It is our job to support you in that and to help you navigate what pools of capital there are available to support your businesses. What support is there in terms of the know-how or the expertise or the convening power? How can we help you as government to do what you do best, which is find and identify and support some of those emerging businesses that we have here within the UK that we are so proud of and we want to do so well within the custody of organisations like your own. But one of the things that I also love, and I saw this in the briefing note as a reflection back of some of the reporting work that has come out of the GCV, is understanding also your role in shaping the corporates that you represent. Like you are at the cutting edge of seeing the disruptive technology that is in front of so many of us and using that to bring that back into the larger organisations and think about how do we learn about what we're seeing out there in the field and bring that back to shape our own businesses. Because we all know that success in the future is not necessarily defined by success in our past, and we are only as good as our ability to keep up with the latest and greatest. That is something I would love to see coming into government as we think about the opportunities that technologies have to be able to disrupt the way that we are doing things and how effective and productive that we can be. With that, a huge thank you for all of you for what you do in terms of nurturing and fostering these next generations of businesses. As I've said, I want to see more of you here, and anything I can do to support you in those journeys as you think about the UK ecosystem and your role to play it is something that we are really strongly behind you with, and we are there to support and help. Thank you so much for taking the time and for being here today. It feels like a fantastic energy. I've just had a little bit of a chance to wander around the room and to meet some people. Really good to be here, and best of luck with all your endeavours. And I look forward to talking to you all in the break about how we can help you a little bit further. With that, thank you very much.